Alina Reyes stood on the back deck of her suburban Virginia home, watching blue-gray dawn seep across the horizon. Beyond the apple blossom trees the highway purred, but inside the house every window was dark. She breathed in cool air that smelled of mulch and lilac and of a promise nobody else seemed to notice. Today will be different, she told herself. Inside, the kitchen clock clicked past 6:05 a.m. Alina padded across the tiles, opened the fridge, and laid out ingredients: baby spinach, pineapple, flaxseed, a splash of oat milk. The blender whirred alive. Marco shuffled in, lanky and bleary-eyed, hoodie half-zipped. He dropped his backpack like an anchor. "Morning, sunshine," Alina chirped. Marco eyed the emerald smoothie. "Morning is subjective. That looks radioactive. Antioxidants." He opened a cabinet, retrieved a box of sugary cereal, and poured himself a mountain. "Antioxidants don't trend, Mom." He smirked. "Still living that yoga mom fantasy?" Alina smiled tightly. "There are worse fantasies." Marco pulled out his phone, thumbs flying. Laughter erupted, a short bark. "Trent, get in here." Footsteps. Alina's husband of 20 years entered, tucking his crisp dress shirt. "What's the commotion?" Marco tilted the phone toward him. "Check the meme. Stay-at-home moms when they learn about Bitcoin." Trent chuckled. "Ouch. Harsh on the yogis." He leaned in, kissed Alina's cheek perfunctorily. "You know he loves you." Alina felt her cheeks warm. Love delivered via memes, how modern. She inhaled, steadying herself. "Big presentation at school today, Marco?" "Group project." "I'll carry them, per usual." Trent winked. "Future CEO right here." Alina's lashes flickered. "If only you knew." As they left for work and school, Alina rinsed the blender. Alone, she opened the pantry's false back panel, her quiet safe. Inside lay a second phone, matte black, encrypted. A single red notification pulsed, VC round closed, $60 million valuation confirmed. Her pulse hammered. She closed her eyes, whispered a silent prayer of gratitude, then slipped the phone into her tote beside rolled yoga mats and slipped out the door. By 9, sunlight spilled across the kitchen island like liquid gold. Trent had forgotten his laptop charger, again. He burst in breathless, tie flung over his shoulder. "Have you seen my charger, Linny?" Alina nodded toward the drawer where she'd placed it an hour earlier, anticipating this very moment. As he retrieved it, he glanced at her lined notebook, hand-drawn wireframes, revenue models, up-to-date CAC data. He raised a brow. "Budgeting our grocery list?" "Something like that." Trent laughed. "Adorable." He patted her hand, the same hand that just signed a term sheet few founders ever touch. Marco strode in, gym bag slung across one shoulder. "Dad, carpool's outside." He froze, seeing the notebook. "Mom drawing her chakras?" "Chakras are real," Alina replied. "So are IPOs." He snagged an apple and left, muttering namaste under his breath. Trent kissed Alina's forehead. "Don't let the gurus hustle you." "Love you." The door closed. Silence bloomed. Alina's fingers gripped the counter. For a fraction of a second she imagined hurling the smoothie glass against the wall, letting spinach shards drip down like war paint. Instead, she exhaled. A calendar alert pinged, investor call, 10 o'clock. She smoothed her leggings and, in a single fluid motion, rolled back her shoulders. The blender still sat half full. She poured the rest into her own glass, raised it to an invisible audience, and swallowed victory. Co-op Space 47 was hidden inside a refurbished textile mill, a red brick labyrinth only locals knew. A nondescript keypad guarded the elevator. Alina typed 7-3-2-1-0-8. The grate slid open. Inside, fluorescent lights gave way to soft pendant bulbs and walls of living moss. Whiteboards gleamed with flowcharts and acronyms. Videcor logos projected on frosted glass. "Morning, boss," said Jada Brooks, COO, in a caramel-smooth voice. She wore a blazer over distressed jeans, a tactical blend of street and sweet. "Got your note about the Series B close. Congratulations." Alina beamed. "We did this together." Jada grinned. Investors love stealth, but they love results even more. With a $60 million valuation, we can finally breathe. Alina's expression sobered. "We're not breathing, we're sprinting." Tommy K., the CTO, wheeled past on a skateboard, VR goggles perched on his head. Alpha engine hit 98% retention. "We're golden." He high-fived her. Alina entered her glass-walled office. On the desk sat a velvet box, a sleek access key shaped like a lotus petal. Jada followed, eyes dancing. "What's that?" "The future." Alina pressed the pedal, holographic slides bloomed, the first revealing, Videcor Series C target valuation, $180 million. Jada whistled. "When do we come out of shadow mode?" "That," Alina said, "is why I need you all in New York next quarter." Tommy leaned in the doorway. "Press is going to devour the mom-turned-mogul angle." Alina's jaw tightened. "Better they focus on the science. We're saving lives, not playing tabloid chess." Yet she knew headlines mattered, they sculpted realities. Her phone buzzed, Marco's message, "Forgot my lunch. Any chance you can drop it?" "They don't allow DoorDash anymore." She typed back, "On a call." "There's cash in your locker." Tommy chuckled. "Teenagers, instant grat, zero context." Alina's face softened. "He'll learn context soon enough." Behind her reflection, the hologram displayed a map of global gym partnerships. For the first time that morning her shoulders relaxed. Everything is clicking. For hours later, a Blacktown car whisked Alina to downtown DC, where a marble lobby funneled executives toward Equinox Partners, the newest investor courting Videcor. The security officer scanned her ID, an anonymized pass simply stating a Reyes, founder. The elevator opened into a boardroom whose floor-to-ceiling windows captured the Potomac like a silk ribbon. 12 faces turned. Some recognized her from earlier Zooms, others expected Mr. Reyes. Alina placed her tote on the table, extracted a slim leather folio, and clicked a pen. Her voice filled the room, clear as Tibetan bells. "Good afternoon, everyone. Let's get right to cost-saving opportunities in employer wellness." An older man adjusted his bifocals. "Pardon, Ms. Reyes, your deck mentioned a proprietary HRT sensor. FDA fast-track approval seems optimistic." Alina nodded, pressed a button. The screen flashed real-time data, cortisol curves, HRV surfaces, user retention charts. These numbers are live. Videcor's tech is not just approved, it's already in pilot with 3 Fortune 100 companies. Murmurs traded across the table. A younger analyst's jaw slackened. "Why haven't we seen coverage?" "Because you're the coverage," Alina said. "Stealth gives us leverage. If you want in, Series C opens at a $180 million cap." The room buzzed. A woman in a cobalt suit leaned back, assessing her. "You drive a hard bargain for a first-time founder." "I drive a purposeful one." Alina held her gaze. "This isn't about valuations, this is about impact." "But impact costs." Silence, then nods. The bifocaled executive cleared his throat. "We'll circulate a term sheet by Friday." Alina closed her folio. "Pleasure, everyone. My team will share data room credentials." She gathered her tote, glided toward the door. As the elevator descended, adrenaline subsided, replaced by a pulse of pride so fierce it made her dizzy. She pressed a palm to the mirrored wall and whispered, "Invisible no more." Her phone pinged, "Trent, running late, don't wait on dinner." Another, Marco, a selfie with friends, caption, "Grinding after hours, unlike some yoga mom's grinning squinting face." A half laugh, half sob caught in her throat. She thumbed 3 dots, typed nothing, slipped the phone away. The Reyes dining room glowed under a crystal chandelier purchased during Trent's bonus year. Alina plated roasted vegetables beside salmon, garnished with fresh dill because vitamin D mattered. Trent arrived first, sleeves rolled, tie gone. "Smells amazing. How was your day?" "You mean between chaturanga and chakra cleansing?" she teased. He laughed, too quickly. "Right. The usual." He poured Cabernet. "We announced more layoffs. People are panicking." "I'm sorry." He shrugged. "Market's brutal. Good thing you don't have to worry about that landscape." "If only you knew my landscape dwarfs yours," Alina thought. Marco burst in, tossing a math textbook on the table. "Dinner looks edible." He sank into a chair, scrolling his phone. Alina served him. "How was practice?" He shrugged. "Coach says I need leadership skills." "Whatever that means." Trent sipped wine. "It means listening before speaking." He winked at Alina, as if to imply she'd known nothing of leadership. Marco snorted. "Leadership is being Elon or Bezos." He turned the screen toward them, another meme, a woman in yoga pants holding crystals, caption, "Manifesting 100K followers like." Trent chuckled. "You have to admit those influencer moms are funny." Alina cut her salmon with surgical precision. "So is underestimating people." Trent glanced up, confused. Marco opened TikTok, volume low but audible. "If your mom thinks hot yoga is a career, send her this sound." Laughter echoed. Alina's chair scraped back. "Excuse me." She carried her plate to the sink, but instead of scraping it, she rested her hands on the counter, head bowed. Across the living room, 2 framed photos watched her, one of her on a beach in Goa years ago, pre-startup seed, and one of Marco as a toddler riding on her shoulders. She remembered the promise she whispered into his tiny ear, "I will build a future you're proud to inherit." Now, inheriting required seeing first. Back at the table, Trent sighed. "Don't mind him, teens lack filters." Alina returned, calm restored. "Marco, what if you started a real project? Something that helps people?" He laughed. "Help how? With kale?" "Perhaps." She forced a smile. "You'd be surprised what kale can do." Trent's phone buzzed. He read the message, grimaced. "Board wants a restructuring plan by Monday. I might lose my team." Alina's pulse quickened, not with sympathy, but with a strategic flicker. If Trent's firm downsized, it could accelerate what she'd already begun, separating her trajectory from theirs. "Maybe," she said gently, "change leads to something better." He raised an eyebrow. "You sound like a motivational poster." Alina collected plates. In the kitchen she wiped away a single tear, not of sadness but of frustration. She pulled out her second phone and opened a secure doc, Operation Mirror, public launch timeline. She scrolled to a bullet point. Secure venue and send VIP invites, May 14th. She checked the calendar, it was May 1st. 13 days to turn invisibility into thunder. Alina waited until the house exhaled into silence, Trent's SUV taillights vanished down the cul-de-sac and Marco's music faded into the distance, before rolling the mirrored closet door shut. The bedroom lights were off, only a dim ring lamp illuminated her reflection from the waist up, the same careful lighting she demanded for every investor call. She clipped a wireless lav mic to her ash rose blouse, slipped in an earbud, and tapped the Bluetooth clicker. Slide 1 hovered, crisp and ghost white, on the wall opposite, V-Decor, reclaim your rhythm. "Good morning, partners," she began, forcing a smile that felt like scaffolding. When we talk about wellness, we have to admit the industry is broken, cheap candles and hollow mantras. Her voice cracked unbroken. She reset. Again. Good morning, partners. She made it to the cortisol reduction graph before her throat tightened. The memory of Trent's smirk at dinner replayed, the echo of Marco's meme laugh. Manifesting like. She inhaled through the diaphragm, the way her first yoga teacher, back when she could barely pay for classes, had taught her. Breathe into doubt, exhale the story it tries to write. Once more, this time with fire. Good morning, partners. I'm Alina Reyes, founder and CEO of Videcor, and today I'm going to show you why stealth was never silence, it was strategy. She advanced the slide. The ring lamp flared off the mirrored door, fracturing her image into shards of light. A soft ping in her ear, Jada on the encrypted line. How's rehearsal? Shaky, Alina whispered, eyes still on herself. They saw through me this morning, Trent, Marco. They laughed. Let them. Jada's voice was flint. We're 92% retention on the beta. You're about to flip the power grid on their reality. Own it. Alina steadied her hands, let the clicker fall to her side. We present in 13 days. If I crack on stage, you won't. Put the rage in the syllables. Alina ended the call, stared into her own pupils. Rage. Pride. Two wolves circling a single fire. She rolled her shoulders back, lifted her chin. Good morning, partners, she said again, this time so cold clear that the ring lamp itself seemed to quiver. And in the pause that followed, she almost thought she heard applause. Rain began as a hush and rose to a drumming roar by midday, hammering the skylights of Co-op Space 47. Inside the atrium, a 6-foot courier in a neon poncho cradled a matte black briefcase. He searched until he spotted Alina descending the glass stairs, flanked by Tommy K. and Jada. Ms. Reyes? His voice boomed over the rain. Alina signed on a digital slate. The briefcase popped open like a magician's trunk. Inside lay 10 obsidian envelopes, each sealed with a laser-etched lotus, and beneath them, slim VR headsets silvery as moon ice. Physical invites, Jada breathed. Classy. AR enabled. Tommy snatched a headset, slid it on. Whoa, there's a floating Videcor logo hovering over my cornea. He rotated his head, invisible confetti rained. Investors will eat this up. Alina selected 2 envelopes, thinner than the rest, each lined with brushed steel cardstock naming Trent Reyes and Marco Reyes in serif gold. Tommy raised a brow. Kitchen critics get front row? Front row, Alina confirmed, and center. They moved to the legal station, where DocuSign tablets glowed. A lawyer in rolled shirt sleeves cleared his throat. Founder equity transfer, 30%. Confirm your PIN, Ms. Reyes. Alina's finger hovered above the glass. 30% wasn't greed, it was armor. She keyed the PIN, MARC0, the 0 an old promise of wholeness. Confirmed. Outside, thunder rolled like distant applause. Back home, the storm had passed, leaving a smear of pink across the sky. The briefcase leaned against the entry table. Trent emerged from his office nook, tie loosened. Long day, he muttered. We approved a severance matrix, soul-crushing stuff. His eyes drifted to the case. What's that? New yoga mats? Stationary. For what, PTA? Alina laughed too brightly. Something like that. She tapped the case under her arm, headed upstairs. In her closet-turned-war room she opened the lid, slipped on a headset, and triggered event preview. The empty bedroom transformed into a grand hotel ballroom ringed by faux starlight, a stage alive with pulsing petals. At the center hovered her name, 10 feet tall, Alina Reyes, CEO. She exhaled, half dizzy, half divine. Let them laugh, she murmured. In 13 days, the universe hits Amplify. Saturday dawned with blue skies and cicada buzz. Alina brewed pour-over coffee, scrolling through Slack updates on her phone. Screenshots from pilot users, a hypertensive father who'd stabilized his blood pressure, a college runner whose panic attacks had vanished after Vidacor's HRV alerts. Real lives bending back toward wholeness. A notification slid down at Marco posted has tagged you in a meme. She tapped. Marco's face filled the screen, framed by school lockers. POV, your mom thinks kale is a KPI. He fake yawned, held up a blender, then spliced to a cartoon caveman discovering fire. Caption, evolution in reverse. The video had 12K likes already. Alina's heart struck ribs like a bell. She watched it twice, once as a mother, once as the CEO who would need to command 600 investors in less than 2 weeks. The mother wanted to cry. The CEO wanted to crush the phone beneath her heel. Instead, she copied the link, sent it to Jada with a single emoji, fire. Jada replied instantly, fuel. Dinner was carbonara, Trent's request, a comfort dish he hoped would chill the growing frost at his firm. Alina grated pecorino with mechanical focus. Marco breezed in wearing headphones. Smells like carbs. He lifted the lid, snorted. Mom chef mode activated. Marco, Trent warned, though his tone was lazy, distracted by a new email. Alina plated pasta, sprinkled parsley, set a dish before her son. Eat while it's hot. Marco removed one ear pad. Relax, carbs don't evaporate. He glanced at his phone, chuckled. 800 comments. Viral, baby. Trent looked up. What did you post? Oh, just the truth about influencer moms. Alina's fork paused mid-air. Words mean things, Marco. Lighten up. It's content. Trent laughed. He's practicing entrepreneurship, right? A second bell rang inside Alina, sharper than the first. Without a word she rose, retrieved 2 black envelopes from the briefcase and set them, like silent telegrams, beside their plates. What's this? Trent asked. Open it. Marco tore the seal, slid out the card. A hologram burst, projecting a rotating gold lotus and text, Vidacor, Private PRE Launch Gala. Beneath, in bold, Admit 1, VIP. Marco blinked. Is this a joke? You said you liked content, Alina replied, voice soft as steel. Bring your camera. Trent inspected his card, a furrow growing between his brows. Why are we invited to a wellness startup gala? Alina carried her plate to the sink. Because, she said over her shoulder, you're family. And family supports each other's work. Work. The word hung like gunpowder in the air. She left the dining room, thunderstruck quiet behind her. Upstairs, she closed the closet door, raised the ring lamp, and began rehearsing again, this time shaping every syllable with the molten edge of humiliation turned to diamond. Monday, 5:30 a.m. emails dispatched. Courier confirmations logged. Air trigger tests triple-checked. Operation Mirror moved into final phase. At the breakfast island, Marco scrolled through the Vidacor invitation again, suspicious. Dad, have you Googled this company? Nothing. Trent sipped burnt coffee. Probably a pyramid scheme. We'll swing by, eat free hors d'oeuvres, head out. Marco grinned. I'll live stream the cringe. Alina wiped down the counter, counted 8 silent breaths. It's black tie. Please don't embarrass yourselves. Marco laughed. Black tie for a kale app? Dress codes aren't for the host, she answered, they're for the guests, to remind them whose arena they're entering. At Co-op Space 47 the team was riding a caffeine tsunami. Tommy had coded a real-time stress index overlay for the ballroom screens. Every attendee wearing a Vidacor band would see their stress drop as guided breathing exercises pulsed through sub-bass frequencies in the floor. Instant proof of concept. Any family friction? Jada asked, skimming the RSVP list. Marco thinks it's a scam, Alina said. Trent thinks it's multi-level marketing. Excellent, Jada replied, expression wicked. Underdog stories taste best when the audience is forced to swallow their own disbelief. Alina smiled thinly. Let's prepare dessert. May 14th. The hotel ballroom at the Willard Intercontinental smelled of orchids and old money. Projection-mapped petals drifted across vaulted ceilings, a string quartet remixed Afrobeats over lo-fi beats. At the entrance, 2 security officers scanned QR codes and stress band IDs before admitting guests down a petal-lit corridor. Trent and Marco arrived late, wrestling with bow ties. Ridiculous, Trent muttered, handing over his phone for registration. The security officer checked the band on his wrist, then Marco's. Please proceed. Inside, the corridor widened into a vast sea of circular tables, each topped with a cube of living moss glowing emerald from beneath. 2-story screens looped a countdown, 14 minutes and 22 seconds. Investors mingled in tuxedos, journalists whispered into recorders. Marco's phone was already streaming. Yo, TikTok fam, we just infiltrated some high-class yoga cult. He stopped. On stage, a solitary podium rose. Behind it, a silhouette waited in half-light. The countdown hit 0. House lights cut. A single spotlight slammed down. The silhouette stepped forward, ankle-length white tuxedo dress, shoulders squared. Alina. Trent's jaw sagged as if the floor had elbowed him. Marco lowered his phone, the live chat exploding. Who that? Alina's voice rolled across the chamber, captured by a dozen hypercardioid mics. Good evening. My name is Alina Reyes, founder and CEO of VDecor. Screens ignited, stitching footage of her yoga mat mornings to lab-coated engineers crunching algorithms to CFO projections arcing skyward. Applause detonated. Security closed the doors, sealing the room. Marco glanced back, no exit but the one his mother now controlled. Alina continued, eyes sweeping until they found her husband and son, frozen in a halo of LED shimmer. For years I was told wellness was a woman's hobby, not a human necessity. Tonight we correct that narrative, one heartbeat at a time. The floor vibrated as sub-bass breathing cues began. Audience bands pulsed, stress indicators plummeting live on screen. Gasps ripple burst through the crowd. Alina smiled, a calm, tidal thing. Welcome to VDecor. Welcome to a future written by the invisible. In the middle of row 3, Trent finally closed his mouth. Marco, hand trembling, switched the stream back on and whispered to his followers, "Guys, that's my mom." On stage, Alina Reyes spread her arms as 100 cameras flashed. And somewhere in the mezzanine balcony, Jada whispered to Tommy, "And that, my friend, is how a queen checkmates the board." The ballroom was still evaporating with applause when the second act of Alina's reveal began. A pair of translucent hollow walls glided from both wings, sealing the stage in a shimmering cube. On their surface bloomed live feed metrics, heart rate variability, cortisol estimates, microsweat conductivity, a heat map of 200 bodies learning how calm feels. Trent and Marco hovered at the foot of the stage, swarmed by journalists who recognized them from LinkedIn sidebars and school district galas. Flashbulbs ricocheted. Each question landed like hail. Mr. Reyes, how does it feel to learn your wife bootstrapped a 9-figure company in secret? Marco, did you always know your mom was building this? Trent's smile was damp paper. We, couldn't be prouder. Every syllable wobbled, we sounded plural, but he was an army of one. Above him Alina's keynote rolled on. She connected wellness data to insurance savings, to employee retention, to global mental health indices. As she spoke, the hollow tracked individual stress drops, a neon waterfall. Respect, she said, voice carrying the weight of bell metal, is rarely given to those who need it most. So we coded a platform that proves the value of well-being in real time. Think of it as quantified empathy. A venture writer near the stage whispered into her recorder, "She's making wellness, well, weaponized." 30 feet away, Marco's school hoodie suddenly felt like armor 3 sizes too small. His phone vibrated with messages. "Dude, that's your MOM? Bro, you're trending." TikTok stitches of his meme now ended with the live stream shot of Alina on stage, the subtitle, "Plot twist of the century." His chest tightened, one part shame, one part awe. Alina wrapped the pitch not with a plea for funding but with a challenge. Health is power. We just democratized both. You can invest financially or step aside while the world does. Standing ovation. In the glare, she saw Trent trying to fight upstream through the crowd. She nodded once at security. 2 tuxedoed guards intercepted him with polite steel. "Apologies, sir. The CEO is headed to press." Trent's lips formed CEO as though he'd never tasted the letters. Alina slipped backstage, pulse racing but posture unbowed. Jada met her with a grin wide enough to split granite. "Board-level mic drop, boss." Alina exhaled through a laugh that shook. "How's our Series C?" "Oversubscribed by 40% and climbing." A teardrop, equal parts relief and fury, gathered at the corner of Alina's eye. She flicked it away before it learned to fall. "Get legal on allocation caps. And prep the interview room. I want Trent and Marco to see the green room monitor the whole time." Jada saluted. "Respect served a la carte." "Coming right up." The gala dissolved into after-parties, but Trent retreated to the Willard's empty lower lobby lounge, tie askew, jacket folded over one arm like surrendered colors. Above him a television replayed Alina's CNN primetime interview. Interviewer: "How did you hide this from family?" Alina, smiling: "Stealth isn't about secrets, it's about choosing the right moment to be heard." Trent sank onto a leather sofa that suddenly felt too honest to hold him. His phone dinged. "Marco, 3:12 a.m., Mom, I'm sorry for everything. Can we talk?" He thumbed a reply, stalled. What could a husband say when the ground he'd stood on for decades was actually his wife's launchpad? He pocketed the device, palms sweating. The lounge doors hissed open and Marco slid in, face blotched red under the recessed lights. "She's not answering," he said, voice wrecked. "Dad, we messed up." Trent watched his 15-year-old son swirl in the same vertigo he felt. Words rose then died on his tongue until one survived. "Yes." They sat in silence. On screen, Alina's clip ended, a Charon scrolled, "Vidacor founder to ring Nasdaq bell?" Marco whispered, "She's Mrs. Reyes at school registration, and Ms. Reyes in Silicon Valley news." "That's Dr. Reyes now," Trent muttered, somewhere deep, pride elbowed its way past bruised ego. "She has a PhD in bioinformatics, remember that scholarship in '09? Marco shook his head. "I was 6. He opened his phone, deleted the meme, then typed a new post, "Public apology to the smartest person I know." His eyes glimmered. "Is that enough?" Trent thought of every dinner table chuckle, every father-son eye-roll, every micro-dismissal disguised as banter. "No," he said. "But it's a start." Both screens pinged, "Alina, come to Vidacor HQ tomorrow 10 a.m. meet security at reception." Criterion crisp. No emojis. Father and son looked at each other, identical storms behind their eyes. Tomorrow, repentance would need schedules, not sympathy. Co-op space 47, 9:57 a.m. The lobby hummed with a subdued awe. Night shift coders sipped matcha while blue-chip investors roamed like penguins scanning for gold. Trent adjusted his cuffs. Marco wore a borrowed blazer, sleeves rolled because he'd shot past his growth spurt over spring break. Both felt like freshmen about to defend theses they hadn't written. Security badges printed visitor, VIP in bold. The guard handed them over with a wink. Follow the lotus path. LED pedals on the floor guided them through glass corridors into a sun-drenched atrium. There, a glass door slid open to reveal a frosted panel, Alina Reyes, CEO and founder. Inside, a Spockcom office, living moss wall, reclaimed oak desk, 2 award prototypes glinting like primordial tools. Alina stood by the window in an obsidian sheath dress, talking with the CFO. She ended the conversation, turned. "Morning," she said, neither warm nor cold, a neutral starting point. "Thank you for coming on time." Trent inhaled. "Alina, we sit." She gestured to 2 carbon fiber chairs. They obeyed. She projected their stress band metrics onto a hidden wall display. Marco's baseline spiked like a jackrabbit, Trent's hovered in fight or flight. She let them see. "This," she said, "is what disregard looks like under a microscope." Marco's voice croaked. "Mom, I'm sorry. I was stupid." Not stupid, uninformed. She tapped a remote. The wall bloomed with VitaCore pilot success stories, teachers lowering blood pressure, veterans escaping insomnia. "I built a tool because the world ignores invisible pain." I lived with 2 examples of that ignorance under my own roof. Trent's shoulders collapsed inward. "I deserve that," he whispered. "But give me a way to learn." Alina studied him, eyes once her refuge, now searchlights. After a long beat, she turned to Marco. "Your apology text was a start. Actions follow. Summer internship, data.org unit, unpaid." Marco's brows shot up, then settled into gratitude. "Yes. Absolutely, yes." She faced Trent. "And you?" He swallowed. "I don't want a job. I want to understand. Whatever courses your employees take, give me the syllabus." Alina's expression flickered, surprise tasting her lip before retreating. "Self-pushed growth," she murmured, a principle tattooed on her roadmap. "All right." She shut off the display and walked them out. In the hallway, a cylindrical elevator waited, the kind that ascended in full view of the entire workspace, like a confession booth of glass. As the doors closed on father and son, they looked down. Every floor they rose revealed teams of engineers, physiologists, and yogis coding side by side. Respect, rendered in square feet. At floor 5, Marco whispered, "She built a cathedral." Trent nodded, tear pricked. To health, and to herself. The elevator chimed open onto a terrace garden where Jada waited with 2 onboarding packets and the gentle smile of someone who'd once been invisible, too. By Wednesday, Alina's reveal had metastasized across media landscapes. Morning shows debated hidden founder syndrome, op-eds argued that domestic life was undervalued entrepreneurial camouflage. Hashtag spawned, hashtag Yogamom mogul trended alongside hashtag invisible no more. At the Reyes cul-de-sac, neighbors practiced a new etiquette: wave a little longer, smile a little wider, speak Alina's name with a melodious awe. Trent discovered this metamorphosis at the mailbox. Mrs. Bosch, who once addressed envelopes to Mr. T. Reyes and family, now asked sweetly, "Will we see Alina at the HOA meeting? We'd love her insight on wellness initiatives." He felt both proud and stapled to the asphalt. At his office, the pendulum swung harsher. Coworkers nudged each other while reading Bloomberg headlines on shared monitors: Trent Reyes, husband of the hidden unicorn. Someone had photoshopped his face onto a man waving pom-poms. Laughter followed, heavy with animal joy at reversal. The final straw arrived by email, a directive for mandatory 15% salary cuts across non-lead leadership, including him. He, the breadwinner, was now a side character in his own financial narrative. He closed the browser, stared at his hands. What if I'm more than bread? The thought frightened and excited him. Meanwhile at VitaCore HQ, Marco's first week rattled his worldview. He built pivot tables, tracked retention curves, and sat in ergonomic silence beside a former MIT neuroscientist who chewed soy jerky and spoke 6 languages. Every time Marco tried a meme reference, she responded with a white paper citation. On Thursday, she slid a peer review article his way. "Read section 4, she said. It explains why online ridicule spikes cortisol. Marco read. The numbers felt like iron filings rearranging his brain's polarity. Ridicule, his favorite currency, was actually biochemical sabotage. He closed the PDF, glanced across the atrium at his mother's office. A jolt of humility hit so strong he almost gasped. During lunch break he texted her, learning I've been selling stress for likes. Won't do that anymore. She sent back a simple thumbs up. Small. Massive. Friday evening. Vidacor's main conference hall. Alina hosted a fireside chat with the Surgeon General via holobeam. The topic, preventive tech and societal equity. Applause thundered. Investors queued to shake her hand. Backstage, Trent waited, clutching a linen-wrapped bouquet of ranunculus, flowers she once told him looked like galaxies in soft focus. He rehearsed his speech, respect, teamwork, apology variant 3B. Alina emerged with Jada and a legal deputy. Trent stepped forward, heart slamming. For you, he managed. The bouquet felt paltry beneath the LED suns. Alina accepted them, measured. They're beautiful. She thanked Jada, sent the deputy for water, then gave Trent half attention. I'm proud, he said quickly. Stupidly proud. And I want in. Not money, time. Whatever you need. Alina inhaled slowly. Every fiber of her wanted to fold into the memory of the man who once believed in her PhD dream. Every bruise of recent years reminded her how belief can calcify into condescension. Time, she repeated. Start by unlearning. I have a suggested reading list. She handed him a card containing 10 titles. He glanced at the list, books on gender bias in venture, mindfulness neuroplasticity, invisible labor economics. He nodded like a student receiving coursework. I'll read them. Then maybe we can talk about a role? Alina weighed his eyes. In them she saw fear, yes, but also the first honest willingness she'd witnessed in years. Roles are earned, she said, voice neither harsh nor tender. Actions, not resumes. Trent swallowed. Understood. A hallway monitor behind them flickered to breaking news. Vidacor rumored to file confidential S1, valuation targets $500 million to $700 million. The numbers ballooned across the screen like a new galaxy. Trent exhaled through a shaky grin. $500 million. You're gravitational now. Alina allowed herself the softest smile. Gravity can be a dance partner or a chain. I choose the one that lets me spin. She excused herself, meetings awaited. As she walked away, the ranunculus trembled in her hands, miniature galaxies in violet twilight, evidence that some stars can go supernova yet still find quiet beauty. Trent watched her silhouette recede beneath the grand Vidacor logo, every step a syllable in a language he was only just learning to pronounce. Marco texted him a photo from the data.org bullpen, a whiteboard covered in stress index hieroglyphics, caption Mom is rewriting biology. I'm here for it. Trent typed back, me too. Let's catch up tonight, pizza on me. He hit send, wondering if pizza was wellness approved. Maybe cauliflower crust? The thought made him laugh, small, but real. Respect is expensive, Alina had said. He realized the price wasn't humiliation, it was transformation. And he had just paid the down payment. A drizzly June morning wrapped Washington in mist, and Vidacor's glass atrium glowed like a lantern against the gray. Alina paced the 8th-floor strategy room, holding a letterhead that shimmered with the logo of Pioneer Access Capital, the firm spearheading Vidacor's acquisition. Jada and Tommy sat at the oval desk, coffees untouched. The deal sheet was simple, predatory, and brilliant all at once. Purchase price, $480 million. HQ relocation, New York City within 60 days. Final diligence sign-off, CEO must be on site, full-time. Tommy whistled a single low note. Big Apple or bust. Alina stared at the window where rain threaded silver rivers. New York meant global reach, deeper talent, bigger stage, but it also meant detonating what little equilibrium her household had just begun to salvage. "Is the board aligned?" she asked. "Unanimous," Jada said. "But they'll only bite if you anchor the transition in person. They want the Alina effect in Manhattan, press tours, investor breakfasts, the whole charm offensive." Alina pressed her thumb and forefinger to her temples. Charm felt easy on stage, at home it was a brittle crust. She opened her calendar, double-stacked, investor dinners, lobbying calls, Marco's last day of school, Trent's final severance meeting. Life doesn't ask permission, it schedules itself over you. She exhaled. "Send Pioneer Access a counter-signature timestamp for 4 p.m. today. If I'm going to leap, I want the wind at my back by sundown." That night the Reyes dining room sat half in boxes, half in nostalgia. Shipping labels hid the family photos Trent hadn't gathered courage to pack. Marco twirled pasta around his fork, eyes darting between his parents. Alina slid her phone across the table, the signed acquisition PDF glowed. "I have 60 days to move. They're offering a penthouse in Hudson Yards and a campus near Columbia for R&D. Trent's jaw flexed. "New York? Full-time?" "Yes." Marco raised a brow, excitement flickering behind restraint. "That's next level, Mom." Trent tried a brave smile. "And us?" Alina folded her hands. "We decide who we want to become in the next chapter. Separately if necessary." Her voice was steady, but her pulse drummed hard enough she could feel echoes in her teeth. Silence sprouted, heavy and fragrant as night-blooming jasmine, the kind that smells beautiful yet warns you darkness has its own language. 2 weeks later, Alina and Trent walked the Georgetown Canal path, humidity coating the air like velvet. Fireflies blinked among reeds, tiny Morse signals neither of them could translate. Trent rubbed his palms. "I've read every book on your list. I started mindful breath alarms on my phone. I've got a therapist, Alina." "I'm glad," she said softly. He stopped beneath a lamppost, haloed in amber. "I can move with you. I'll reinvent myself in New York." Alina met his eyes, gentle brown eyes that had once convinced her the world was safe. "Reinvention is a solo climb. I can't carry you to the summit." Trent's voice cracked. "Then tell me what to do." She shook her head. "That question is the problem, wanting instructions instead of authorship." He looked as if she'd doused him in cold river water. "So this is goodbye." "It's an invitation," she corrected, "to catch up on your own terms. But my train leaves July 31st. I won't miss it." Thunder rumbled in the distance though the sky was clear, a summer storm still deciding whether to exist. Trent swallowed, real tears this time, not ego's mimicry. "I love you." "I believe you," she whispered. "Love me forward." She touched his cheek, felt the electricity of grief and possibility at once, and walked into the night, leaving the lamppost flickering behind her like a candle struggling against wind. Moving day hit 97 degrees. Boxes towered like cardboard monoliths across the living room. Marco hauled a final crate of high school trophies toward the door, sweat haloed his curls. "Keep or donate?" he asked. "Donate," Alina said, taping a box labeled Legacy, Rewrite. A U-Haul idled outside. Inside, Trent lingered by the staircase, a single roller bag at his feet. He looked shrunken in cargo shorts and an MIT hoodie that once symbolized promise. Alina approached. "You're staying in D.C.?" He nodded. "I accepted a 6-month contract with a non-profit mental health startup. 50% pay cut. I need the learning curve more than the salary." Something bright sparked in her chest, unexpected pride. "That's courageous." He managed a wry smile. "Maybe growth is contagious." Outside, the driver called her name. Time unspooled like a tugboat line. Alina hugged Trent, short, fierce, final. See you in the climb. Marco emerged, earbuds out, expression raw. Dad, you okay? Trent tousled his son's hair. Go build galaxies with your mom. He turned away before the tears renegotiated. As the truck rumbled down the street, Marco glanced back through the rear window. Trent's silhouette shrank until it was only a smudge against the heat shimmer, past self waving goodbye to a newer, stranger future. Hours later, Alina and Marco checked into a Manhattan serviced apartment. Skyline lights hummed like circuitry outside the glass. Marco dropped his duffel, breathless. Different universe. Alina draped an arm over his shoulders. Welcome to the sequel. Hudson Yards, 6 a.m. sunrise painted the East River lavender as a black glass elevator carried Alina and Marco to Vidacor's new interim HQ on the 41st floor. The reception area featured a living wall that spelled breathe in slow-pulsing LED moss. An intern with pastel braids handed Marco a lanyard. DataOrg Junior Associate. He blinked. That's me? Alina winked. Earn your coffee budget, kid. They toured labs where biometric rings calibrated themselves against quantum-tuned sensors, conference rooms where scent diffusers paired with AI-guided visualization, and a meditation dome suspended like a soap bubble over the city, glass floor, heartbeat-synced LED constellations. Marco's mouth hung open. Mom, you built Wakanda for wellness. She laughed. Iterative vibranium. After lunch she met with the Pioneer Access Transition Committee, 5 suits, 1 purpose, scaling Vidacor globally. They debated manufacturing schedules, IPO windows, European data regs. Alina answered each query with crisp equanimity. Yet beneath the poise, a question pulsed, does success still feel like mine when it's this large? Late afternoon, Marco knocked on her office door holding 2 coffees. Mom, there's someone you should meet. He ushered in Dr. Hannah Adebayo, a Nigerian-American clinical psychologist who designed Vidacor's trauma response modules. Hannah extended a firm hand. Your son shadowed my team. Quick study. Marco blushed. She said my pivot tables didn't suck. Alina beamed. High praise. She eyed Hannah, bright, empathetic, the sort of leader Vidacor needed frontline. Join the exec roundtable tomorrow. I want trauma response integrated into the public narrative. Hannah nodded, eyes shining. It's why I'm here. That night, Alina stepped onto her penthouse balcony. Traffic drones blinked far below like dragonflies. She dialed Trent. He answered from an empty DC subway platform. Made it, she said. I know. CNBC just ran your office tour. A soft silence. Both heard their futures forging new rails under them. Marco doing okay? He asked. Thriving. He called a code review lit. The engineers groaned. Trent chuckled, a sound laced with bittersweet threads. Send him my love. I will. She gripped the railing. You good? Working. Healing. He paused. Reading Chapter 4 of Invisible Labor Economics makes me nauseous. Keep turning pages. I will. A breath. Night, Alina. She swallowed. Night. She ended the call, leaned into the wind that carried the scent of river metal and rooftop herbs, and whispered to the skyline, write me larger than fear. September 12th. TED Global, Brooklyn Navy Yard. A 30-foot screen displayed a single title, They Thought I Was Just a Mom, How I Built a Wellness Empire in Silence. Backstage, Alina adjusted her wireless mic. Hannah clasped her shoulders. Remember, speak to the 10-year-old girl in the cheap seats, she might be you. Alina nodded. Music swelled, cue lights flashed. She walked onto the red circle, applause crashing like surf. 10 years ago, she began, I studied cellular stress responses while my toddler napped in the next room. I learned that ridicule spikes cortisol more predictably than war documentaries. Audience laughter, rueful. So I built technology to measure invisible battles, and to win them. She recounted stealth mode, Series B nights fueled by leftover mac and cheese, the gala reveal. Footage flashed, Marco in shock, Trent in disbelief, investors mid-ovation. Then she pivoted. But this talk isn't about revenge or valuations. It's about the cost of underestimation. Every marginalized group knows that cost, paid daily in silent currency. She clicked a slide of global heat maps. When you invest in visibility, you compound humanity's return. Her voice softened. I stand here not as an overnight success but as a long-haul believer. She looked directly into camera 3, live-streaming to millions, including Trent watching from a DC co-working lounge. To everyone told to shrink, your outline is just the scaffolding of a masterpiece. Standing ovation thundered until it seemed the rafters quivered. Tears blurred her vision, but she held the sight, a wave of people rising like sunlit wheat, bending toward her light. Backstage, Marco barreled into her arms. Mom, you trended in 34 minutes. She laughed, wiping his tears and hers. Does virality feel different on this side? Yeah, he sniffed. Feels like service, not ego. Trent's text pinged, proud beyond words. Keep spinning with gravity. T. She replied a single dove. Hours later, at the after-party on a rooftop lit by lantern drones, Hannah clinked glasses with Alina. Legacy Step 1 accomplished. Step 2? Alina asked. Hannah grinned. Distribute VitaCore bands free to public school teachers nationwide. Quantify underpaid stress, recalibrate society. Alina's heart thrummed. Draft the pilot plan Monday. She moved to the balcony's edge. The East River glinted below, endless and mutable, just like the path ahead. She raised her glass to the water, to the city, to every invisible soul plotting their own emergence. Onward, she whispered. The night swallowed the word, but the future, already awake and listening, echoed it back in the pulse of a billion unseen hearts. The end.